What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex, and in this video, I want to talk about The Last of Us multiplayer yet again, and the news going around. This is a few days old, but I wanted to throw my hat into the ring, considering it's a more controversial topic, which I do believe suits me quite well. So, the idea that this game is also going to be out on PS4, right? I've long said it. I definitely believe this game is going to be a launch day PS5 and PC, right? Sony has their thing where sometimes it takes a while, let's say, for PlayStation exclusives to make its way to PC. Recently, it definitely seems like it's less time, right? I don't know if there'll be an average as the years go on, maybe 6 months after release of a PS5 or PS6 game, 6 months later it comes to PC. But I think for a multiplayer title, one that needs as many players as possible, you're going to need to release it the same day. Now, the reason I bring that up, you could say, well, Alex, that has nothing to do with the PS4. Well, I did want to bring that up because I do think that's the primary reason for making it on PS4, and I want to acknowledge it. Although, this is where it'll get controversial, I don't love the idea that if this multiplayer game comes out, say at the very end of this year, even into next year, you're now 3+ years after the PS5 is released, and you're still making games that are partly on PS4. I don't like it. I've never really liked it. It's become more popular to agree with that kind of mindset over the last little while. I was saying it before it was popular, but regardless, I will throw out there that while I'm not a huge fan, and I can't speak to like technical limitations, although you have to imagine there kind of has to be, beyond all that, there's the simple fact that they're probably doing it because it's just more players, right? It's why I brought up the PC thing. I think it would kind of be silly almost to not include PS4 if you can get. Now, as we talked about before, it really does seem like people kind of migrate to the next thing. I mean, that is a real thing. People seemingly kind of wait on buying games that are on PS4 and PS5. They'll maybe wait till they get a PS5 to get that game. This is kind of evident in several of the PS5 exclusives that are also on PS4. The PS5 versions actually sell more. So it does seem like people wait. But if you can get an extra 1, 2, 3 million players on PS4 on top of however many you're going to get on PS5 on top of PC, the phrase would be, well, why wouldn't you do it, right? So I do go back and forth. Again, like, is it a good idea for them to put it on PS4? I think they have the right idea in mind. I think they're doing it for a player base reason. I think they want as many people playing this thing day one as humanly possible. Again, like, I can't speak to the technical limitations, and I know there was always that debate, when we cross gens, and we've done this several times actually online, there's always the debate of, well, does the old consoles hold things back? What does get held back when you do it? I think that at the very least, you can say with pretty good certainty, because it does seem to be agreed upon even from like developers, it slows them down. Maybe it doesn't hold back any technical features that they're going to try to do for the next gen versions, but it definitely seems like the more versions, and this is kind of obvious, the more versions of a game that you're making, which means the more platforms that it's on, the longer it's going to take, more problems could occur, maybe there's a delay on the last gen versions, and that's kind of a thing with this, right? I guess where I'm coming from, don't let the PS4 version hold back in any way everything else. And I would say that for a lot of different things. Now, you could say for like Hogwarts Legacy, and what did Hogwarts Legacy do? Well, it actually delayed the last gen versions twice. 2 times. Now, for multiplayer, I think it's a little bit different, right? Because again, day one, when the multiplayer goes live, whether it's free-to-play, in which there has been kind of job listings that indicate this could be a free-to-play game, or whether it's not, you're going to get those however many millions of people the first day. I think you'd want all 3 platforms available day one. I don't think you'd want to do it where you roll out, again, this is why I mentioned the PC thing. You wouldn't want to roll out PS5, then PC 3 months later, and then, oh, well, we're working on a PS4 version, but it's kind of taking a while, so it's delayed, so it's going to take like 6 more months, and that version will come out. No, you want them all together, which I think is the idea of any of these companies, is that they want that. The issue is, we've seen time and time again, that actually is a problem. And we've seen time and time again that they actually struggle, not necessarily Naughty Dog, but companies struggle with those last gen versions, and they end up getting pushed almost indefinitely, after the current gen. But again, when it comes to multiplayer, you don't want to do that. So I guess where I'm coming from is I don't want the entirety of the multiplayer to be pushed to get the PS4 version ready. Do you know what I mean? Maybe they say, okay, PS4 version would take more time. We want all three out at the exact same time. So what we have to do is we have to delay the entire launch, not just on one platform, the entire thing on all three, because they need all three to be ready. Now, I'm not saying that's going to happen, but that is historically, you can look at this, that is a problem that arises. So I'm worried about that, is I guess what I'm saying. On top of the idea that I just don't think that you need games coming out for PS4 3+ years after the thing has launched. I get it with games as a service, live service games, which is a new thing, right, over the last, say, like 10 or so years. This is really the first major console generation jump that you're having these games have to do. Do you know what I mean? Like, there wasn't really a Fortnite that had to jump from the PS3, Xbox 360 era to then the PS4 and Xbox One. Does that make sense? So this is really the first one where these games that want to survive like 10 plus years just as one game, that they're going to have to make a jump between two consoles. This is the first kind of era of that. So it is kind of new, and I don't even know how I feel about it necessarily. But what I do know is that when you're doing something like this long after the PS5 has come out, I don't know. I feel like this would be the time to say, okay, we're done with the PS4. Because one final thing I'll throw out there, this, I would assume, is intended to last a very long time, right? I don't think this multiplayer is supposed to last like a month. I think it's probably supposed to last, even at minimum, say 1 to 2 years. Okay, well, if it comes out 3.5 years after the PS5 is out, and then it lasts 2 more years, so now you're 5.5 years into the PS5 generation, and you still have to support the thing on the PS4. Now, I guess the easy way out of it is you say, we're dropping the support on PS4. Well, then did you have to make it for them in the first place? Because if you have to drop support on a last-gen console within like 1 to 2 years of your live service thing, why even do it in the first place? So I know this is probably coming across kind of negative, especially if people have never heard of me or never watched my videos. I'm very excited for this. Like, I loved Factions on the first game. In fact, I want to go back and maybe do some videos or live streams on it before this thing comes out. I can't wait. It's just that this stuff is annoying to me. That's all. I can love the idea. I can love the past version of what Factions was. I can have belief that I think they're going to crush it, which I do think this is going to be quite good. But I can also have a problem with some of the more intricate details, let's say. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. Do you think it should come out on PS4? Make sure you're all subscribed, bell icon turned on, and I hope to see you all on the next one.